So now, how early or late in your career did the coaching bug hit you? When did you first think I'd ever want to get into coaching?
I knew when I was done playing, I wanted to stay involved in sports. Um, I feel like I was blessed to learn so much from so many great coaches and players. And I love being around it. And I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach what I've learned. My dad was a baseball coach and football coach at Yale. So I've been around sports and watching him coach for the longest time. And that bug, as soon as I was done playing, I wanted to get involved in it. And Joe Wolf gave me an opportunity to do that in the Colorado 14ers in the NBDL back, or maybe the CBA. I can't remember what it was when I first started coaching.
But did you go instantly into coaching as soon as the career was done?
Probably a year after. I'll tell you what I did. Ray Allen, another UConn guy, he called me out to Seattle. He was playing in Seattle. So I would hang out with Ray, spending all my money, wasting my time, spending all my money. I'm like, I need to do something in my life. Ray was still playing. So I'm like, let me find another job. So I started coaching then. Yeah.
And Steve, same question, because again, the parallels, you both found your way into coaching. How early or late in your career did the coaching bug hit you?
Well, in 2006, I went finished was my last game in the middle of that year. I ended up having surgery again on my shoulder at the end of 2006, just to make sure it was repaired and feeling good because my rotator cuff was torn. We had really all of 07. Took a couple of years off and played some golf when I was living in Texas. And then at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Like, you learn and you play with so many great players and you want to, pass it forward and give the knowledge to people who really want to play the sport. So, I made a few phone calls, sent out a few emails. Cleveland, obviously I played there for very many years. And Mark Shapiro was there. We called, I went for an interview, gave me an opportunity to start coaching with the Cleveland Indians organization at the lowest levels. And then, 6 years later, I ended up being in the big leagues with the Milwaukee Brewers and finished up with them at the end of 2021. As you know, to just step away this past year to spend some more time with my family and spend some more time with my son who's playing baseball. And, it was a great ride. I mean, at the end of the day, being away from your family is really tough, as we talked about, especially whether it's an NBA season or a baseball season. You play every day, 162, 6 or 7 months away. Your family can't always be with you because of schooling and sports and things like that. So, it was time to be a dad, and it was time to, just kind of step away from coaching. I'm not saying I'll never go back to coaching again. But at this particular time in the journey, in the life, he's 11 and it's time to give him some direction and let him grow as a young man.
So Scotty, we got the t-shirts.
I see that. I like it.
So,
you want me to tell you what I'm doing right now?
What are you doing right now?
I'm looking up Steve Karsay's handicap right now. I can't find it.
Believe me, you won't find it. If it was 2008 or 2009, it would have probably been like a 5.
Oh, nice.
It's about a 15 now.
Oh.
Yeah. Listen, I had nothing else to do. I was on the range every day. And I was playing rounds in Texas because I was living on the golf course every day. And
that's awesome.
It was a lot of fun, but there's more to life than that. And it's fun to be away. And I was still young at the time, so I knew I wanted to coach, but I just didn't know what I wanted to coach. And finally, it kind of just hit me, probably like it hit you. It's like, hey man, here's where I'm going to start. Here's where I want to end up. Let me put a timeline on it. Hopefully I get there by this time. And obviously, you're coaching. You're obviously the head coach in Connecticut, right?
Southern Connecticut. Yep. Division II school.
Southern Connecticut. That's what I meant. Yeah. In the state
all
of Connecticut,
baby.
Yep. Yeah. But it's fun. I love coaching. I love when kids take that challenge on of trying to becoming great. It's just hard. The kids' attitudes, they think they know, not all of them now, think they know everything. They know the better way to do it. They listen to their handlers or their high school coaches who's in their ear instead of listening to someone that's going to give them the honest answer to things. It's tough. But when you have those kids that do listen and a team that does want to be coached, good things happen.
Well, I got to ask you, because there's many questions that are coming to my mind, Scott, when it comes to coaching career. For first and foremost, you chose the college ranks early in your career for playing wise. Then you chose the college ranks from coaching wise. You and Steve have your parallel careers. Steve started off in the minors in Major League Baseball and then became the coach in Milwaukee. You were an assistant coach for many years and became the head coach on the college ranks.
Mhm.
Decision of college versus pros. How does that work? And does it cause you a decision to be in college and stay in college? From a
Yeah,
coaching perspective.
I had some people call out from NBA teams and see if I want to get involved coaching. And like, I know some people who are in owners or management that can probably give me an opportunity to coach in the NBA. I just like the purity of college sports, but with the NILs and transfer portal, there's no purity in college sports anymore. But you still have a chance to mold someone's life and see them grow, and I love that. It's sometimes it's hard to coach guys in the NBA or professional baseball who don't want to listen to guys because they make more money or think they're too good to listen. At least you can change people's lives in college and make them grow and make them to men and good basketball players.
Steve and I talk very often as far as him being a first round draft pick with the Jays, and as far as how the money is today. Back in the day when you guys were picks, and Steve being by the Jays, yourself, Scott, as far as for the Mariners, then the Jays, as well as the Hornets. But imagine now in this day and age, if you guys were who you were back then, and now in the year 2022, if I'm reading Scott Burrell, first round draft pick for the Mariners, first round draft pick for the Hornets, two sport player, like we're going to be like all over magazines. We're going to be going bananas, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, both of us. I mean, our brands, like I said, our brands would be so much bigger. If no matter if we were successful or not, but it's we grew up in an era where that the brand wasn't as important. But still, like I said, I would love to play with the money they pay guys now. But I'm so glad I played in the era that I played in.
But so that being said, now in this era, what do you think for those young kids coming up the ranks? What are their challenges versus when you guys were youngsters? What makes it harder for them, and what makes it easier for them now?
Steve, you want to answer that one first, or?
Yeah, I was going to let you go first, but I'll just say the generation is really different. The way kids are brought up in this generation about everybody gets a trophy, about everybody needs to be told that they're doing well, and they have the hard time of taking the truth and saying, hey, you really need to work on these things to get better and become a better player. As far as 30 years ago, like it wasn't as easy from a coaching standpoint. They kind of just told you like it was. They're like, hey, listen, if you're not good enough, you need to do this or you're going to be gone. And, I think that's the biggest challenge. It's the biggest challenge that I had in the minor leagues. As Scotty said, they all think they know better than what experience is. And we have technology now, right? So they are into all of these numbers and what it is, and they think they have a good grasp of it. But there's an experience factor that a coach brings along that can teach a young man because he's been in his shoes before. Like if a young man is like, hey, Scotty, there's 2 seconds left, man. We're down by 1 and I got to shoot 2 free throws. Like, tell me how I work through that, whether it's breathing, slowing my heartbeat down, or, hey, Kars, I know you're out there in the 9th inning, bases loaded, 2 outs. Like, what are you thinking and how are you going to approach that? Where the numbers, you can have the best numbers in the world, but there are 3 things, like I said, baseball that we talked about. There are 3 things a computer can't tell me about a person. What kind of IQ he has on the field, on the court, what kind of ticker he has on how slow it works when he's in the crap or he's in the middle of 50,000 people or 25,000 people yelling when he's on the free throw line or trying to get the last out of the game. And then at the end of the day, what kind of brass you got between your legs when the crap hits the fan. Like
Yeah.
if a computer can't tell me that, but by you having experience and you knowing that player and being around that player, that player can handle that situation, or you don't want to put him in that situation because he might not succeed. And I think that's the biggest challenge today with coaching is getting these players to understand experience matters. Numbers are great, but at the end of the day, here's how we want to attack you know, the pillars of what we want to do.
Yeah. Steve, you said it perfect. Hey, like, nobody wants to lose as an athlete, but losing makes you better. And could you learn from losing? And I don't know if kids understand, when they lose today, they take it personal. You can't take it personal. You just got to make it educational. I won't let it happen again. I won't let myself be put in that situation. Guys take it personal. I need to do this. I work on this, work on that. No, just maybe you should have did something earlier. Maybe not let your guy get hot. Should have dominated him earlier instead of playing too cool early in the game. It's so many things you learn about sports and losing and success.
Let me ask you as well, Scott, from the college perspective, as a coach now watching the kids versus when you were in college, is it fair to say, and I don't want to overgeneralize, but of today's generation, they have more distractions than ever before. And also they want it now. They want to play now. They want starter minutes. They want the money now based on their potential, not because they've ever earned it, and they don't want to put in the time the way they used to back then. Would you say that's true or false?
100% true. So much more distractions. Access from social media. You can meet so many more people. So many people are reaching out to them. Like I said, NILs, everybody thinks they should be getting more than they're getting at certain schools. Excuse me, the transfer portal. People can put their name in the transfer portal at any time now. As soon as the coach has a play, he can transfer if he wants, if he's not happy. There's way more distractions, but there's way more ways to be successful. Because like Steve was saying, there's something called synergy in basketball. You can watch every shot you take in basketball. You can watch every defensive possession, every offensive possession. Watching that, like if we had that back then, we would have learned so much more to be better, to be a better player. But they have every reason they can get better, but they have also more reasons to fail in what they're doing now. Yes.
And on that note, looking ahead to your journey of where you're at, if you had to guess the Scott Burrell journey into the future, any idea of where you're headed as far as from the coaching ranks from life, or is it more of a take one day at a time, happy where I'm at, and see where life leads?
I love where I'm at. I love my freedom. I love changing kids' lives or trying to make an impact on kids' lives. I coach in my hometown, basically. I grew up 4 miles from where I coach. I lost my dad 3 months ago. My dad passed 3 months ago. But this is the reason why I coach here. My mom and dad, I got to see them every day. At every game, I look across the court and I saw them. But these are reasons why I'm here. It's not about the money. It's about changing lives, enjoying where I am, great bosses, and it's a great league where I coach. So
it is so rare to hear
the words, and that's why, and that's why you're successful, and that's why you're at where you're at, because you're paying it forward and doing the thing that makes your heart tick. And being at home and being able to coach 4 miles from your house is unbelievable. I wish I had that opportunity. If it was the Diamondbacks, I would be in the same kind of situation. Things don't work like that sometimes, but to listen to you and to have an understanding of coaching at home, impacting young men and trying to make them better and put them in a position to succeed moving forward in life is a special thing. So it's really nice to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. Thank you. I appreciate it, Steve.
How did your players react when they saw you in The Last Dance? They saw a different side of you, I presume. Yeah, but
no, it's really weird. Like kids are so into themselves so much that they never really ask me any questions about it. They never really. This was only certain people. Like people don't ask me. Like my players don't ask me, how was it to play with Jordan? Why was Jordan the best? Because they don't see MJ as being the best player. All they see is Kobe, LeBron as being better. So they don't worry about really the best player. And so they don't. I wish they would ask me questions about that because I would love educating them. So I don't push my life on them and what I've done. But if someone wanted to ask me, I would tell them why Michael is the best. But they don't really ask. They just watch The Last Dance. They didn't really ask them any questions, and they just go about their business. Kids, like I said, social media and these cell phones, that's the only thing they worry about.
It blows my mind because if I was playing for you and you were my coach, I'd be reading every single stat of what you did. I'd be asking you a zillion questions because I know you had the secret sauce. It took you to where you needed to go in life and in sports. This guy obviously knows what he's talking about. How can I do that? And I'd be trying to pick your brain every day. But that's, I guess, our generation, it was different. And maybe those kids, those young kids watching, having your coaches in sports or wherever you are in life, whatever your occupation is, maybe pick that brain of that mentor, see what their journey was, because that may help you along the way.
You have to. If you
Well,
want,
knowledge is power, right?
yeah, knowledge is power. Yeah, you have to learn it. It's fun learning about other people's past and other people's histories and what made them successful, what made them fail. Because you want to be like that, or you want to learn from their journey. And it's amazing that very rarely what does one of my players ask me about my journey. Very rarely.
It's a shame. Well,
Yeah.
tisk to you guys when you're watching this. Now, I'm going to ask you both, because you started together so young. You took such a diverse journey, each of you, made it big in your respective fields, but on your own paths, and then came back to coaching. It's amazing the parallel lives you guys lead. Did you guys follow each other along the way, even though you did not keep in touch? Did you keep tabs on each other's careers?
Oh, I definitely followed Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watched him. I mean, I knew where he was going, every step of the way, even if it wasn't baseball and it was basketball. Whenever I could catch a game when Scotty was on that team playing, I would catch it if I wasn't playing. And always, like, when I did get a cell phone, we will look up information and track them. Like, that's what you do. Like when you develop friendship with somebody, and even though if they're separated for such a long period of time, like we have been, we just got on this call and we picked up exactly where we left off. Like I've been talking to him for like the last 30 years. So it's kind of crazy in that aspect to how things work. But yeah, of course, I think not only him, but I think everybody who plays with certain guys in the minor leagues, and if they go on to a different sport, follow each other and hope that the success follows them wherever they go.
Yeah, same here. And I would always brag about when I saw Steve or other guys I played with go play. That was my roommate in college. That was my roommate in minor league baseball, and I was happy to see them out there playing in the big leagues and being successed. So I definitely followed Steve's career and other guys' careers. And like we said, Steve, we had some talented players in that team in St. Catharines. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, look at Chris Winkie, right? I mean, he played baseball for a little while, and then he went and played football for Carolina Panthers and Dallas Cowboys, a couple other teams. Yeah. So
Howard Battle, like you said, Giovanni Carrera, Gio pitched for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some studs on that team. Was Sean Green on that team? Sean Green played on that team. Tim Hires played on that team, who's now coaching in the big leagues. Yeah, I mean, there was tons of guys that, like you said, Scott Burrell. Yeah.
Delgado played with Steve. I don't only play both of you, but I know Steve played with him.
Yeah, he was our catcher. He was 6'9" as a catcher.
Who?
Delgado.
Oh,
Carlos
yeah.
Delgado.
I mean, we're missing him, but I mean, that was probably the biggest one out of the bunch who's had a huge amount of success in the big leagues, and it really ticked me off because he caught me through all those years in the minor leagues, and when I faced him in the big leagues, I almost knew what I was gonna throw. It was crazy.
Hey, Steve, I got a question for you. Is Carlos Delgado gonna be a Hall of Famer?
I think he's going to come up a little bit short. I hope that's not the case. I hope the numbers that they run these days will put him over the hump. I mean, back in the day, you had to reach thresholds, right? It was, whatever it was, X amount of homers, X amount of hits. If you had 3,000 hits, you're almost guaranteed to be in the Hall of Fame. It was 300 wins, as opposed to 296 or whatever it might be. But now they have all of these numbers to dictate WAR and how you did and what positions are the most valuable and whatnot. So when they run the numbers, I'm hoping that he passes those thresholds that those numbers say, and he gets a fair shot at the Hall of Fame.
Because he has like 400 something home runs, doesn't he? He's up there in home runs.
Yeah, he has a lot of home runs, and he played for a very long time.
Yeah.
That's a question, Scott, I love asking Steve all the time. Steve doesn't always play in that game for me. Are they a Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Famer? But baseball, I think, is the hardest Hall of Fame to get into by far out of all the sports. And if there's one thing baseball always says, it's a Hall of Fame. It's not the Hall of Very Good. And if I'm going to say, we always like to do the comparison. I love baseball writers and how they talk about it because they always say which guy got in and which guy didn't get in. I'm going to bring you the name Fred McGriff. If McGriff is not in, then Delgado's not in. Sorry. Like, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
unfortunately,
It's
McGriff did
hard.
not. Yeah, but McGriff did not get the publicity that Delgado got, and Delgado's not getting the publicity all these other guys get.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, but the way he's playing right now, Kyle Schwarber's apparently going to go to the Hall of Fame. So we'll see about that. What do you think of Shohei Ohtani, by the way?
He's a good player. He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch. I mean, guys plays both sides. Offensively hits the ball. Great pitcher. He is fun to watch.
We're talking about two-sport players, but imagine back in your day, you're pitching, and then you're going to also, by the way, be a 30, 40 home run guy. Like, that's obscene, eh?
Hey, me and Steve could have did that. We could have done that.
It just doesn't come around. It just doesn't come around very often, man. Like he's a one-time generational player that play on both sides of the ball, stay healthy, and he's a special talent. I mean, just like Bo Jackson, right? I mean, that's just another one. I know Brian Jordan did it too, but Bo Jackson and Ohtani, I kind of put them on parallels on how they succeed. Him on both sides of the ball in baseball, but Bo with two sports. Yeah. It's impressive.
Speed and power.
Bo's also a guy, I met him once in person. I gotta say, like, larger than life. Like it's Bo Jackson. Like Bo knows, and with the bat on his shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
He's another guy. If he would not have been injured and he would have fulfilled what he was supposed to, he would have been at Jordan's level. Like Bo was big.
Oh yeah, he was before Jordan too, wasn't he?
Or around, or not that far for the timing.
Yeah.
Because Nike made him one of their biggest people at that time back in the day. And like you said, that poster with the bat and the shoulder pads, it was a great. Yeah.
Broke his bat over his knee like I break a toothpick. Like, come on.
How about when he ran up the wall in the outfield when he caught that?
That's what I was thinking of right now. When he caught that ball and just ran up the wall and ran down the wall. It was impressive to watch. It's tough.
Yeah.
And for a lot of those kids out there that are college stars or role players or thinking of making the bigs, it's really interesting to read Bo Jackson's story to understand what it was like before you had all these advisors and, today's world and economics and sports, and what it was like to scout him, to get him onto a team. It was in your generation, our generation, it was a lot different back then, a lot simpler. And a star like that did not come around very often. And Bo was definitely one of the special ones.
Oh, for sure. Like you said, if he didn't get injured, wow, how good he could have been.
Mm-hmm.
We really appreciate today. I know, Scott, your timing is this has been one of the most interesting episodes to put together. I got to tell you, as we're starting to sum up, and Scott and I going back and forth as far as figure out timing. Steve was going bananas. I wouldn't tell him who you were, by the way. Every day he was guessing somebody different. I told him it's better. And why was it better at the end of the day? Because you have such a unique journey, and watching you two together, you guys, it's like looking in a mirror. You guys are so similar personality wise, professional, class, how you handle yourselves. It's no secret why you guys were friends. That's very obvious to me, and why Steve got so excited when he heard your name. And reading about your story, you read the headlines. I was so intrigued to see the person behind the headlines, and you blew me away today, Scott. I got to tell you.
I appreciate it, John. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you text me and Instagram me. That's great. That's what the social media is used for, and we both use it in the right way. And I'm glad to see Steve again and talk to him and talk about his successes and what he's doing now. I'm happy to be here, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I mean, it's amazing to have you on. It's great to see you. You haven't changed a bit in 30 years, and we'll have to stay in contact. Text back and forth if you're ever out in my neck of the woods out in Arizona. If you guys play the Sun Devils or the Wildcats, I'd love to come and grab a beer with you and sit down and continue to catch up. But I'd still like to pop you a text now and then and see how things are going.
Definitely, we'll definitely keep in touch now. Definitely, for sure.
I was gonna say better not be another 30 years, but it's Scott, for what it's worth, Steve and I went 10 years almost without speaking. We were gonna write a book together. That was the game plan originally, and then life took its course that we weren't able to. And then I came back to Steve when I started up the podcast instead of blogging. I said, instead of spoken words, Steve, let's do this in video format, because people don't want to read my words of what you said. They want to see you say it. They want to hear your tone. Yeah. And when we reconnected 10 years later, it's like we just picked up where we left off. It was like nothing changed. And you guys are the exact same.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. People want to see it and hear it too. Like I said, people don't want to read it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those people watching right now in the millions and millions watching at home and all over the world, think of those people that you went to college with. Think of those childhood friends, that maybe you're artificially friends with on Facebook. You know what? Pick up the phone, call them, go have dinner with them.
Yeah.
It's nice to reconnect. My game plan originally, Scott, was to have Steve start off the episode with his eyes closed, not know you were coming until you actually showed up. But I wasn't that mean, so I did relay the secret at some point, and he was just so freaking happy. He was like overjoyed.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, this was awesome. I really enjoyed, being able to catch up, and really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and talk a little bit about it. And like I said, we'll stay in touch, and we'll shoot some texts back and forth. And I'll definitely be watching you and your team as you progress in the fall and play some of these basketball games.
Yeah, we'll be good this year. We'll be excited to watch. So hopefully we can make the NCAA tournament. I don't know where the Final Four is going to be or Elite Eight's going to be, but hopefully we'll be there.
Well, we'll all keep in
Well, I
contact.
got nothing to do, so I can come.
All right.
And we'll keep in contact. And for the folks out there, you'll never know when Scott may be back. So more stories to come.
I appreciate it.
Scott Burrell,
Yeah,
wishing you all the
absolutely.
best.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll see you guys.
See ya. Yeah, absolutely. Stay well.
You too. Bye-bye now.